Hey guys, it's Maris. Welcome back to Harpies in the Trees, where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. Thank you guys so much for coming and celebrating Halloween with me. It was so much fun and I was so nervous and just full of anticipation. And I was really pleased that you guys had such good feedback for me. I worked so many long hours and just driving my boyfriend crazy with, can you help me with the shot? Can we shoot at your parents' house? Can we, all these different things I was trying to pull together under like the tiniest of budgets. But that is one of the, I guess, the kind of adrenaline rushes of making a short film on a tiny budget. So even though these weren't films per se, I still had to create footage and come up with these screenplays and storyboards and stuff like that, and it was so much fun. I remember when I was done shooting the stuff I needed for Last Days, and I was sitting down with all of the footage and I was looking at it, and I had this like foreboding feeling. I was like, ooh, I don't really know what I'm doing at all. I don't know how to make a trailer, and I don't think necessarily like what I created was, super awesome and everything, but I think it was a good try. But I did look up, how directors make trailers, and apparently there is kind of like a rule of thumb that goes with making trailers. So it was pretty cool to learn about those things and just learning about all of the other different effects that I never did before. Didn't know anything about Keen. Didn't know, how to make a ghost look how I would want a ghost to look. And it was, really close the way that I was imagining it in my mind. There were definitely more things that I would have liked to do, but I did get a time crunch because we went on vacation for a week on the Baltic Sea, which was really super nice. And it was something that I agreed to do because it was the only time of year we could go. So I decided to kind of just sacrifice that week, go and relax and just, chill. We have never done that before. I haven't been on vacation in like just the dawn of time. So it was really nice for me. But coming back, it was like, okay, I'm gonna be working like 12, 14-hour days now. And it was a rush, it was tense and it was stressful, but it was so fun. What I'm really appreciative of is Madame L'Amour and this Horrible Place podcast and Accessible Gourmet, just, my friends like helping me out and just showing off their own talents, and that's just really, really awesome. So if you were there and you were hanging out with me and we were chatting, thank you so much. And if you didn't get a chance to catch it live, but you caught it later at some point, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you do enjoy it. If you want to see more videos like the Halloween special and just more videos like film trailers and interviewing authors and stuff like that, and also, participating in, what videos I will be making for this channel, you should definitely become a Blood Crown. It's going to allow me to buy the things that I need. I'm unemployed, so my budget for everything is super tiny. I do make it work, but it's really, really tiny, and I would like to be able to buy more books, pay for my Adobe license, keep my candles stocked, but mostly to start doing more cool stuff. I want to be able to incorporate more special effects and more atmosphere. I want to be able to spend more time writing music. That's why I opened up the Patreon, and I don't want to put ads on here because I hate ads myself, and I don't want to make my channel child safe because we're talking about horror and it's supposed to be, adult. So I want to keep it that way. This channel at the moment is my life. It's what I do all day, every day. It's what I'm thinking about constantly. And I just want to take it to newer and better places. So if you want to be a Blood Crone, there's a link in the description box and you can check it out and see if that's interesting for you. And if not, no worries. It's totally cool. I'm just really glad that you're here. When I was on vacation at the Baltic Sea, I finished reading the third book in the Black Winter series for Darcy Coates. And it is so good. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to review Whispers in the Mist, but then I'm going to do a series recap. So we can just talk about all three books and, how what they are and like how they fit together. Our book opens with Claire and Doran. They've just been rescued by a masked stranger from Helix's Tower, a place that was being overrun by the Hollows. They're riding in a Mad Maxed out school bus. It has a metal grill on the front of the bus, kind of like a snowplow. It has boards on the windows and various different spikes sticking out from the perimeter of the bus. Doran and Claire cannot believe that they've made it. They were literally almost dead meat. But they heard a very loud and persistent horn blaring outside of the building, and they knew that it couldn't be a hollow and had to be another human being. So they jump on the bus and they take off. The driver is wearing a mask. You can't see any of their features at all whatsoever. It's not like a Halloween mask, it's maybe like a fencing mask or hockey mask, something like that. And they're just racing through the city. They're making a hole through every road they go, tossing cars aside with hollows screaming inside. Once they get far enough away from Helix's Tower, the bus stops, and the driver ends up being someone that Claire knows very, very well. But there's something different about this person that she used to know. Very, very different. They seem hard, like they've seen some shit. Harsh and surly and barking orders. They're gonna be in charge. But they're gonna have to trust this person because they have a very, very long journey to make. And the only way they're gonna get there is with some help. And this is when a story begins. It's so good. I love these characters, Claire and Doran. They're so consistent, like who they are as characters, as individuals and people are very consistent. So what I really liked about this chapter in the series is that we really get to see relationships being challenged by all of the factors that are happening. You have some type of apocalyptic situation that's happened, and you have human beings being a very rare species at this point. And there's nowhere you can go, there's nowhere you can turn, it's not safe anywhere. You have to be constantly on the run. And this is where this begins to wear down on our survivors, which makes complete sense because not only are they going through all of this stress and trauma and stuff like that, they're starving, they're dirty, they are having doubts, and they're confused about a lot of things. So it's like they sort of develop these prey instincts, right? Where everything is a danger. You can't be out in the open too long. Every little sound, every sigh, every hiss, every crunch of the leaves, you know, that 99%, that's danger, and you need to react. So we get to see this, but also within the context of these relationships, because between these survivors, things are changing, and not just in an emotional way, they're changing in ways that they could have never anticipated. So this driver, when they come onto the scene, they are so difficult. So when you're meeting them for the first time, you're just like,
fuck this person.
You know what I mean? Like, no one needs to be around this. But because Claire has a relationship with this person, it's something that they need to be around. And, you know, I had all of these ideas and thoughts about why that was happening. And, you know, later on it becomes very interesting of why that's happening. And I know that it's like everything I'm saying is so vague. This was like a lot of action. You know, it does continue its road trip through the wasteland. So it's like this really just awful road trip from hell. There's nothing comfortable about it. Everything is just dangerous. Everything is a trap. Everything has the potential of going to shit. So my adrenaline was definitely running with the book as I was reading it, because it was just so many situations where you think like, how are they gonna get out of this situation? And the solutions or the choices that are being made are really decent. And that's what I like about this series a lot, is that Claire makes choices where you might not agree with them all the time, but you understand why she makes them, and it makes sense. There's also a lot of science here, and you know, that made sense. And that is like really important, because when it makes more sense, then it just seems even much more horrible and creepier, because you can see it. You can see it as being a possibility. The hollows themselves are really interesting. They're not zombies, they're not ghouls, they're basically... By the second book, you know, we get to learn that about them, and we get to know that they are indeed. But the way that they become super fantastic, the way that they are transformed, and there are also a few wild cards there. So it's really, really interesting. I hate zombies. They are my least favorite out of everything. And the reason why I hate zombies is because they're just sort of like these bumbling, hungry dum-dums, you know? And they don't really scare me at all. They just seem really annoying to me. That being said, there's films that I definitely do like that have zombies in them, but reading about them for me is it's even harder. It's even harder. But the Hollows are completely not that at all. They are extremely interesting, the way they became to be, and they are terrifying because they have these predatory instincts. Oh, you want to like make a tent and rest in the woods away from civilization? Because that sounds like it would be a good idea. Oh, no. Because all of the Hollows have gone to the forest now to find food. So it has a lot of really cool, well thought out details that I thought were fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I love this whole entire series. I'm not a big series person. I think I'm always afraid of getting let down or something, so I'm really, really hesitant. But Whispers in the Mist is so good. Now, is it a good standalone? I'd say that it's not, because the relationship between Doran and Claire, I think that you need to have some prior experience of that with them, because their relationship is definitely highlighted in here, but it's not the main focus. But I think you need the other two books to really get behind Claire and why she makes a lot of the decisions that she does. Because Claire is sort of that person who she wants to do the right thing. And you know how that can be really frustrating. Sometimes that can put you in a lot of danger. But she kind of just, you know, marches out there fearless, because her focus and her objective has already been made in her mind, which makes her, you know, a very, I think, endearing and annoying character at times in the book, but not annoying in a negative way. Just we're just like, oh my God, you know. But you know, so she makes these decisions, which I think if you don't really know her character as much, you might be like, these decisions seem kind of, you know, heavy-handed maybe. So as a standalone, I'm not sure if it would have the same impact. I think if you want the full experience, you're gonna want to start with the first book anyway. And I guarantee you, if you like Darcy Coates, if you like survival horror, if you like apocalyptic porn, if you like apocalyptic sci-fi scenarios, you're gonna like this. These books and this series is written with a lot of passion and a lot of love. And to me, it's a little bit more sophisticated than her creepy cozy stuff, which I love, but I feel like this is more, it's just more sophisticated. It has complexity to it. It has a matureness to it. So I read this on vacation. It was like, I don't know, a day and a half maybe? And it's 470 pages. And I can only read stuff like that I'm really drawn into. So it's definitely a 5-star for me. I enjoyed it so much. So this is my series recap really quickly. So in the first book, we get introduced to Claire. And Claire is trying to make her way to her sister and her aunt's house because something has happened to the world and they need to get into her sister's bunker to be safe. So she takes all her stuff and she heads out driving in the snow, which there's no reason why there should be snow that time of year. It's just snowing and it's piling up and it's piling up. And as she's driving, trying to get to her sister, she crashes. And when she wakes up in a strange, antiquated, but sort of opulent, but empty mansion. It's nestled in a forest. And that's where she meets Doran. And Doran is one of the sons of the family who used to live at this house. And they have a very kind of wary relationship, but they team together to try and survive these changes in the world. And that's really where we get to know Claire and Doran and kind of who they are as people. And they become very close in this book. And it was a scene that I wanted to do for my imaginary film trailer that I did for this, but I just didn't have the means to do it. So Claire is laying in bed and she has multiple injuries from her car accident. So she's not really able to move. She opens her eyes and she looks at the door and it's open. And there's this ghoulish figure just standing there staring at her. And then it slowly closes the door. And that scene was so good. Like it just really set in the creepiness, the chillingness, like what is going on? Because there's a lot of things happening at first. There's a lot of implications. So you're just like, well, what's going on? So this book is really fun because you're just kind of figuring out this new world and this new place and these characters and stuff. This is when Claire and Doran decide that they need to leave Winterbourne Manor, which is the home of Doran, because Claire wants to go and find her sister. She was able to speak with her sister on a two-way radio, but has now lost contact. So now a lot of this book is them preparing to go on to this journey. And they don't really know what they're going to encounter. We don't know what they're going to encounter. And we get to go with them into the wasteland and see, which is so cool, because in the first book, we were really stuck in the confines of Winterbourne Manor and its estate. But now we get to go out into the world and see why this, what it looks like, what's going on. Are there other people? So this one is, the mission. Where Claire's like, oh, I need to go and find my sister. And she's just dead set on that mission. And it's in this book, I think, that we really get to see more Claire's personality, which, leads you more into this book. So she's on a mission. No one's gonna stop her. And it can be a little challenging for Doran because, not only are they the only two humans they know, and they have to rely on each other for everything. Doran has never been outside of Winterbourne Manor. So for him, going out into this strange world is jarring for him. It is strange to him. And that was really particular because it wasn't just, oh God, the world is destroyed, we gotta go out and do some recon. It was, yeah, we're leaving the only world I know, and I never knew this other world, and I don't even know where I would fit in here, or about its technologies or its science or its, cities or anything. So those things really strained their relationship in ways that felt interesting and cool and natural. So this one's mainly like, let's go on a road trip, even though we've never been on a road trip together, through the worst of circumstances to ever be known, and rescue someone. So of course, I just told you all about this one. So I can't wait to read the fourth book. I'm really, really curious as to where it's gonna go, because, they're in this wasteland and there's nowhere safe to be. I mean, home's not even safe. And you have no idea when this will change. And if you want to do something about it, then you have to go out into the dangerous world where chances are you're not coming back. So I don't know where they're gonna go and what they're gonna do. So I'm really, really curious about that. So that is it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this series recap and book review. Thank you so much to Poison Pen Press for sending me these books. I so appreciate it. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. I would appreciate that so much. And thank you for spending your evening with me. I really do appreciate it. You can follow me at Harpies in the Trees on Instagram if you like. Take care of yourself, wear a mask, and I'll talk to you next time.